So hello everyone and welcome in 2023 with some amazing Steel Division. The Steel Division will be around this year for sure as well, and the Steel Division League is coming in with a banger from the get-go. Steel Division League semifinals today of Division 1, Khers versus Gonzo, and tomorrow we have the finals. And I'm not just casting an amazing game, I also have an amazing co-caster at my side. Say everyone hello to Mr. Fantix.
Hello there.
Yes.
Good evening.
Yeah, he joins me for some amazing analysis, just like in the last couple of weeks, and we're looking forward to this and to the games. And before we jump in, let's have a look on what this is all about. These are two of the three remaining players of Steel Division League Division 1, Khers and Gonzo, in the upper semifinals. The lower semifinals was won by Incha, so we have a new finalist there already. The question is, will we get an all-new final with Khers versus Incha, or will Gonzo once more make it in there and have a shot on to his 6th championship? Should be a really, really hot one. And it's not just all about the fun and games, it's also about some money. And you can help out making that money bigger. We are Matcherino, where we currently are at $160. Come on, guys, we can make that a bit higher. We still have a bit of time. $160. You can even add money for completely free to the prize pool via these sponsor goals here on the side, where you just visit some websites, for example, or you submit one email address and you add 40 cents to the prize pool. You can also obviously contribute money directly. Big thanks to everyone who did, like AD, like Creamy Bigums, and Witch Doctor and Soap, and so on. Big shout out to all of these guys. And yeah, let's jump right into some hot action here. Khers versus Gonzo. And what do you think about the matchup, Fantix?
It's really good to see Lowesh and Kostrica. They are a really good division in this meta, and so is the first PTK. So it will be a really interesting matchup to see on this map, I would say.
Yeah, I know Khers is a big fan of the map. He really plays this, I think he's the player I have seen the most times on this map. And Gonzo has some interesting takes on it, so I'm really looking forward to it. Like, Gonzo is saying that the center, for example, is way more important than usually people give it credit, that open space. Meanwhile, Khers is really strong in the forest fights on the sides. Obviously likes to rush on this. So, yeah, will be interesting. We had this map in the other semifinal as well, where Onord rushed Incha really hard, but didn't really got much success there, and Incha was able to push him back with the finish. Do you have any favorite when it comes to these two divisions? Like, it's a good matchup, but do you favor any of these two?
On this map, I would say first PTK, because of the CQC advantage you have over Lowesh.
Yeah, the infantry for sure is nice. Though Lowesh, obviously, in the mid-range is pretty strong as well. The Hujarok. So if you can find some mid-range engagements, and I mean in the town and between the towns, there is space for that. The Hujaroks for sure can keep up with the Strelky LKM. And what's the disheartened big squad again? I always forget the name of that. Dejan No. You see, guys, I also was on holidays. I still have to get back into it. But yeah, Nimrod coming in here from the get-go. So far the only division with Nimrods, but hopefully not for much longer. It's really kind from Eugen that they waited with the next DLC till League is over, so that they don't crash the balance. That's obviously the reason why they waited with Twitter. But let's freaking go, guys.
I really love this Nimrod in the middle, because I think it will be used more for its anti-tank capabilities than its AA capabilities, knowing Gonzo.
Yeah, the Nimrod there can be used for everything, right? It can be pretty effectively used against infantry. It can be used against tanks with the heat anti-AP shell. And yeah, that's also usually the space where the most bombers pass by, so it's a good AA there as well. And the Nimrod is just one of the best, if not the best AAPs in the game, thanks to its higher accuracy than normal mid-tier AA pieces. And yeah, we got some hot action here.
I think Khers is trying to do something similar to Onord, like try to push this open space or like the town part of it early on and get the advantage like that. But
He has a lot more units than what we saw in the Onod versus Incha game, though. Meanwhile, in the middle, Saperji Rocks trying to go all the way there, but Gonzo is ready there with 75mm and a Turan 2. What do you think about the tank matchup? How do you feel like Turans will hold up against T-34Es?
I think it's the really good matchup for the Turans because the tank is cheaper and it has the heat that can pen the T-34E if it hits. So I'd say if you get your engagements right, you should be winning the tanks fights.
Okay, yeah. 52 piece trying to fire from long range. And the first T-34E versus Turan and 75mm fight already going on, and yeah, you were right there, at least for the first one. T-34E already falling. That's obviously not great for Khers. In the south though, his great infantry with the Dejan Cholgovis, the Strelki LKM, engaging some interesting infantry there of Gonzo, the Kerke Pasok.
I think that's a really nice infantry choice for Lowash because they are only 20 points and 13 men, so it's cheap infantry that will hold the line for you in a phase.
You see a lot of people relying nearly solely on Hujaroks and Hujarok Skoligorsk, but obviously these guys are 20 points, and I mean they still bring an LMG, and they still bring two really good Danuvias actually, the 43M model, so for 20 points, really strong infantry for sure. Meanwhile, in the north, complete stalemate so far. Khers made it to a 14-10 with the push in the south and a slight push in the center, but I would say kill-wise it's pretty even, if not slightly favored towards Gonzo, especially thanks to the T-34 killed in the middle early on, and one more Turan's coming in, and there's no anti-tank capabilities so far on Khers' side in the center, which is problematic.
Yeah, it will be hard to get rid of those Turans, even with the T-34s, because they usually lose the 2v1 fights they are in. And 1v1 is just a coin flip.
Yes. Meanwhile, in the north, Sis 3 guns coming up. The Druzhnias holding the long-range fights. But yeah, the infantry fights so far going pretty decent for Khers, I would say. Though it's obviously a lot of infantry that you can't bring out as the Lovash, so you shouldn't be pushed too easily there. And now the Turan 2s in the middle start to bring some pain to the Saperji and especially to the 52 piece. Two of them already eliminated, and yeah, they don't have any AT capabilities, so they will die to the Turan 2s eventually, which is pretty tough there. Khers really relied on these to keep the enemy infantry at bay, but without any anti-tank, and I'm surprised that he didn't bring any Sis 3 guns or so into the center. Like, usually you at least see one or two of those, and those would have really helped out a lot. Fully relying on T-34Es seems a bit weird to me.
Yeah, and we are seeing Gonzo counter pushing in the south now. Like, he killed all the CQC infantry that was there, and now he has everything in front of him to take. That's like 2 or 3 flags, which is help him out in A phase with the flags.
Yes, Oji Alkani moving around here. Meanwhile, the Ognias coming in from the rear. And yeah, the counterattack in the south looks pretty strong for Gonzo. Now up to a 13-11, Khers in trouble. Meanwhile in the town, Gonzo also still having all the Turans, and one T-34E there is around now and an Su-85, but they have a lot of work cut out for themselves. And there's a lot of infantry being picked off in the meantime here by the Turans. So the infantry advantage that Khers had for a while there in the center by now has been shifted. And that is obviously a massive problem here. And
I mean, in general, Khers will lose the mid-range fights due to the Bristol shock, and that's just a pain for him. He has to rely on those 100-meter ranges to use his superior CQC.
yeah, the long-range fights he wanted to win with the 52 piece, and those are all picked off by now. So his infantry, I mean, his Strelki LKM and the Oji Alkani can stand their ground pretty decently against the Hujarok Goliorsk and the normal Hujaroks, but it's not an easy fight there for sure. Su-85 trying to fight some long-range fights, but the Universal Carrier for sure will go down, and Gonzo obviously good enough on the micro to not leave the turrets open to the Su-85s for too long there. So Su-85 has to be careful. Is already under fire by some anti-tank gun fire there. 75mm at least gets picked off. Meanwhile in the north, Gonzo now shifting some turrets there. T-70 outclassed here a bit. Especially the really good thing about the turrets is the rate of fire. With 12 shots per minute, they get their shells downrange pretty quickly compared to other medium tanks.
Yeah, now we see Gonzo have the tank dominance in the south or the northern side as well, because there is no AT gun there anymore.
Yeah, SIS-3 gun there going down as well, and that's really the biggest problem in this game so far for Khers. The 2-2s are completely uncontested here, and the one strength, the other one strength of the Polish he can't really use, the IL-2 spam, because Nimrods will keep them out of the skies relatively quickly, so relying on the IL-2s for anti-tank is not really an option here either, which leaves a little option here, and it looks like Gonzo is already putting massive pressure here early on in this game onto Khers. Even though Khers is the one with the Vanguard income. I didn't even see that at the beginning, but yeah, Khers back to his normal income. He loves that on Kostritsa, but his rush just really didn't work. His T-34E didn't get the job done, and now it's looking pretty rough here. 2-2 going down. Yak 7B in the south getting pushed back as well. T-34E moving around in the south.
And yeah, now we see the T-34E running into 375mm in the center and probably dying soon.
2-2s in the center, bullying the T-34E now with a lot of shells, and it's just too short of a too much of a short range engagement there to go well for the T-34. Su-85 now under fire by Pak 40. That's not going to end well either. And oh my god, this is heavy pressure here on Khers. Su-85s, if they die, that is the last line of defense here going down. Those Su-85s tried to carry the tank fights, but 2-2s rolling just on top of them now. X-30-70s being rolled in, but they don't stand a chance against 2-2s either. And there's a good amount of anti-tank gun. There's way more infantry for now for Gonzo, and the early game just went really, really well for the GOAT of Steel Division 2. Gonzo really showing that he means business here in Game 1. That he's back to shape. Like, he didn't look that good against Onord in the group stages, but here in the semifinal, he really performs like you would expect Gonzo to perform. And Khers is struggling here.
There is nothing left in the center to hold one Odziana Carney and an AA gun.
Yeah, and the south also is completely overwhelmed. T-34E on its own here. At least it killed some of the Tyrants, but now the infantry just tries to run on top of it, together with the anti-tank rifles, and tries to just kill it that way. At least the Jushka will push it back, but like getting control back of the south will be a tough thing. At least there's nothing to deal with the T-34E right now, easily at least. If he could maybe pick off the Nimrod, maybe a counter push in the south could be somewhat feasible, but at the same time the center is just looking so dire.
Yeah, I feel like there is no more tanks on Khers' side because he's only calling out T-70s now.
I mean, we just arrived in B phase, so there should be more T-34Es now, but they will take a long time to the front line. Like, the thing of the T-34E is, yes, it's nice that you get it for pretty cheap for its armor and its penetration power, but it's a really slow tank. It only comes with 43 km/h road speed, so it takes a good while to arrive on the front line. And I'm not sure Khers has that time anymore, as Gonzo really keeps up the pressure here in the center. Tyrants and Pak 40 try to cut down the road completely. Strelky there getting bullied hard. T-70 gets killed off as well. And now the Focke-Wulfs come in, another strength of Lovesh. The Focke-Wulf fighter bombers, really solid units, and there's only one AA piece here for Khers, and you don't get that many amazing fighters as First Polish either, so getting rid of those will be a bit tough problem as well. The first one actually might get killed off by the 37mm though. Already trailing black smoke here. And yeah, that one gets killed off, but the Yak 7B at the same time will be picked off by the Nimrod. So in the end, not the most amazing trade for Khers either. Dejan Govi getting pushed out, and the 1311 still ticking here for Gonzo. And the center.
Gonzo killing off, or probably trying to kill off the AAPs hurts a lot for Khers.
Yes, and Tyrann 2 will succeed in that. T70 tries to come around, but I don't think it can stop the Tyrann 2. Nope, there we go. Tyrann 2 gets the victory. T70 with 2-star veterancy versus a 0-star Tyrann 2 trying to take the fight there, but this is a really clean game so far by Gonzo. Few mistakes made in this one, and Khers just not getting any great engagements here early on. T34 in the south now getting too close to the forest. Gonzo instantly with the punishment there. Hujarok coming in with the anti-tank grenade, and then the anti-tank rifle finishes off the universal carrier with the Dushka. That means the south is now in favor of Gonzo in the armor department, as well as the Tyrann 2s, and the Jagdpanzer 38T has arrived. And without the AA, JOD75 coming around as well. T34 is in trouble, and this looks like a quick Gonzo victory here in game number 1.
Wait, Gonzo brought out the T78 commander. Or T38, sorry. That's quite an unusual pick from him.
Yeah. He likes that one. But yeah, it's an interesting pick, yeah. It's another unit we don't see that often. And it's a cute little tank, so cool to see it here. It's a bit of a unicorn there. 38T. And J87 finds a victim in the north now. T70 gets hit hard. Not quite killed off, thanks to the AA, but it's still absolute pain here for Khers, as Gonzo will still have 6 minutes of superior income here ahead of him, and Khers basically has no center left. T34 and the T70, they will need to annihilate all the tanks basically to maybe start a comeback here, but that micro won't be allowed by Gonzo, as one more T34s come in. And I feel like the way that Khers should have taken is like getting a critical mass of T34s, so that they like always one-shot the Tyranns popping up. But yeah, single T34Es just don't work. That's what we see here. Another one does fall to a Tyrann in the CQC fight, and I don't think this game will go on for much longer.
Yeah, this game is probably over in a few minutes. But it's just how Gonzo took the push apart from Khers. That's what's fascinating about this game, more or less.
Absolutely. Like, Khers came in with a good push, and 90% of players out there, more likely 95, or maybe even closer to 99% of players would have just faltered there. And Gonzo just took it apart meticulously, bit by bit, got the T34 really early on, and didn't take any damage whatsoever in the first couple of minutes outside of 1 or 2 infantry losses. But like the Tyranns all survived, the anti-tank guns all survived, and meanwhile on Khers one important puzzle piece after the other got eliminated. And yeah, in the beginning Khers had a bit of a tick and had a bit of an advantage in the south, but even there Gonzo did the right retreat, and he's always so good at clicking retreat at the right time and falling back. Like the fallback mechanic Gonzo is so good at, one of his big strengths. And yeah, that led to victory in the infantry fights as well, even in scenarios where you would expect him to lose. So really great show here from Gonzo in game number 1, and Khers will have to find another solution. Won't get an easy victory here with this early game push, so we'll have to find maybe a bit more of a mid-game push here to tackle Gonzo next game. As Khers usually not the guy for the 50-minute games, but usually on map to be found on Maverick or Vanguard in a 10 to 20-minute game. GL Khani now trying to get the center here, but 1410 still ticking, and anti-tank guns hitting up the T34Es in the south. In the north, J87 coming around, the Jagdpanzer moving in. There's nothing to stop that Jagdpanzer 38T. That's one of the problems of the Polish, that they don't really have any higher penetration power. Even a Jagdpanzer with its 105mm already is a threat that is hard to penetrate. And the center here now completely disintegrating.
Yeah, we can just see Khers buying a few of Odzial Karni and hoping it will solve the problem in the center. And yeah, Gonzo is just taking away bit by bit and moving forward. Like, not much to do for Khers here. Probably tap out and play the next game.
Yes. And maybe find a better early game strategy there. Like, rushing Gonzo is something that works so seldom. There only are a couple of guys out there that ever made that successful. And I think, like, the only one who did it a couple of times was Quadro. It's just, like, rushing Gonzo early on just feels like it never works. And it for sure didn't here. Gonzo with a commanding 2000 to 600 KD here. And Khers really will have to find a better solution in game 2 to this. So let's hope he can do so. And let's have fun in game number 2 in 3 minutes, guys. Short break. And then we will be back with game number 2 of Khers versus Gonzo in the semifinal of the Steel Division League Season 9 semifinal.